Jack Lawson's eyes snapped open to the blaring alarms. His heart pounded as the ship's AI Sophia cut through the noise with an urgent message. General Lawson, we have minutes to save humanity. Disoriented, Jack struggled to shake off the remnants of cryosleep. His muscles ached and his mind raced to catch up with the present. He glanced around the cryo chamber, its stark metallic walls reflecting the chaos of red flashing lights. The war, a distant memory, rushed back to him in fragments, desperate battles, fleeting victories, and the final, haunting image of entering cryo-sleep with hope that he would be awakened to a better world. "General, you need to move," Sophia urged, her voice both calming and authoritative. "The enemy fleet is closing in, and we're the last line of defense." Jack swung his legs over the edge of the cryopod, feeling the cold floor beneath his feet. "Status report," he ordered, trying to steady his breath. Sophia's holographic form materialized before him, a serene yet commanding presence. "Our fleet is heavily damaged. We've lost contact with the command center, and Captain Hiro Tanaka is on his way to brief you. We have less than 10 minutes before the enemy breaches our perimeter." Jack's mind snapped into focus. He pulled on his uniform, the fabric feeling foreign yet familiar against his skin. Just as he was fastening his jacket, the door slid open, and Captain Tanaka strode in, his face a mixture of relief and determination. "General, it's good to see you," Tanaka said, offering a salute. "We're in a dire situation. The enemy has us cornered, and morale is low." Jack nodded, taking in the gravity of the moment. "What's our current strength?" "Most of our ships are crippled," Tanaka replied. "But we still have a few functional fighters and enough firepower to mount one last offensive." Jack considered the options, his strategic mind weighing the risks and potential outcomes. "Prepare the crew for immediate action. We'll strike the enemy's command ship. It's a gamble, but it's our best shot." As Tanaka left to relay the orders, Jack turned to Sophia. "What's the likelihood of success?" "Minimal," Sophia responded, her tone factual yet unwavering. "But it's not impossible. Your leadership has inspired hope before. It can do so again." Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. He exited the cryo chamber and made his way to the bridge, where the remaining crew members were already scrambling to their stations. The ship vibrated with the hum of engines and the distant thuds of enemy fire impacting the hull. "Listen up, everyone," Jack called out, his voice cutting through the din. "We've been through worse. We've faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. Today is no different. We hit them where it hurts, and we do it with everything we've got." A ripple of determination spread through the crew. Eyes that had once been filled with despair now shone with renewed resolve. They believed in him. They believed in their mission. Jack approached Lieutenant Maria Sanchez, who was busy coordinating the launch of their remaining fighters. "How are we looking, Lieutenant?" "Ready as we'll ever be, sir," Sanchez replied, her fingers flying over the controls. "Fighters are prepped and standing by." Jack placed a hand on her shoulder, offering a reassuring squeeze. "Good work. Let's give them hell." He moved to his command chair, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The screen before him displayed the tactical layout of the battlefield, red blips indicating enemy positions steadily advancing towards their location. "Sophia, patch me through to the fleet," Jack ordered. A moment later, his voice echoed through every ship and fighter under his command. "This is General Lawson. We're launching a full-scale assault on the enemy command ship. This is our chance to turn the tide. Trust in each other and trust in our mission." Lawson out. The bridge was a flurry of activity as final preparations were made. Jack watched the countdown, each second ticking away with agonizing slowness. He clenched his fists, willing time to move faster. "General, all fighters are in position," Sanchez reported. "Commence attack," Jack commanded. The ship lurched as their fighters launched, streaking towards the enemy fleet in a blaze of determination. Jack's eyes remained fixed on the screen, monitoring the battle as it unfolded. Explosions lit up the darkness of space, each one a testament to their resolve. But even as they made headway, the enemy's sheer numbers began to overwhelm their forces. Jack could feel the tension rising, the fragile balance of hope and despair teetering precariously. Suddenly, A new signal flashed on the screen, an unknown vessel approaching at high speed. Jack's heart skipped a beat. Was it a new threat or an unexpected ally? Identify that ship, he ordered. Sophia's voice held a note of intrigue. It appears to be broadcasting a friendly signal. General, shall we make contact? Jack hesitated for a fraction of a second. Open a channel. The screen flickered, revealing the face of a young pilot with a determined look in his eyes. General Lawson, my name is Lieutenant Chris Reynolds. I've brought reinforcements. Let's finish this. Jack's lips curled into a grim smile. Welcome to the fight, Lieutenant. Let's turn the tide. As the new fleet joined the fray, the balance began to shift. Jack's heart swelled with hope. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since waking, he believed they had a fighting chance. The bridge erupted in a cacophony of coordinated efforts and battle cries, the crew united in their common goal. Jack stood tall, his gaze fixed on the horizon of their impending clash. The fate of humanity hung on the edge of a knife, and he was ready to tip the scales in their favor. Jack Lawson stood at the heart of the command deck, his voice steady and commanding despite the chaos swirling around him. Listen up, everyone, he began, his eyes sweeping over the assembled crew. We have one shot at this. The enemy outnumbers us, but we have something they don't hope and a reason to fight. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for each other. Sophia's holographic presence flickered beside him. Enemy fleet approaching. General, she reported. We have minutes. Jack nodded, his mind racing through strategies. Captain Tanaka, status report. Hero Tanaka stepped forward, his expression grim but resolute. Our fighters are at 60% capacity. Shields are holding, but we can't take sustained hits. Jack met his gaze. We won't need sustained hits. We'll strike fast and hard. Lieutenant Sanchez, what's the condition of our pilots? Maria Sanchez, her face a mask of determination, responded, Ready to fly, sir. They're tired but determined. Good, Jack replied. We'll need every bit of that determination. Dr. Patel, ensure your medbay is prepped. We might need it. Dr. Ethan Patel nodded. Already on it, General. We'll be ready for whatever comes our way. Jack turned back to the crew, his voice rising. This is it. We hit them where it hurts, and we don't stop until they're down. Remember, every action we take today is for our survival and for the hope of tomorrow. As the crew dispersed to their stations, Jack moved to the tactical display. Sophia, analyze enemy formations. Sophia's voice was calm and precise. They're employing a pincer movement, attempting to surround us. I suggest a concentrated strike on their flagship. Disrupt their command, and the rest will falter. Exactly what I was thinking, Jack said, a grim smile on his face. Let's give them something to worry about. The deck vibrated as the ship's systems powered up for battle. The hum of energy thrummed through the air, a symphony of impending conflict. Jack felt the weight of responsibility, but also the fire of resolve. This was what he was born to do. All hands, prepare for combat, Jack commanded. The ship shuddered as it accelerated towards the enemy, the stars outside streaking into lines. Jack felt the familiar adrenaline surge, his senses sharpening. General, Sophia interrupted, we've detected an unknown signal. It could be an ally or a trap. Jack frowned, his mind weighing the possibilities. Can we trace its origin? Not precisely, Sophia replied, but it's close. Maintain course but keep an eye on it, Jack ordered. We'll deal with one crisis at a time. As they approached the enemy fleet, Jack's voice cut through the tension. All units, this is it. Stick to your wings and cover each other. We go in fast, hit hard, and get out. On my mark, engage. The ship plunged into the fray, laser fire cutting through the void. Explosions erupted as fighters clashed, the darkness of space lit by the fury of battle. Jack's orders came rapid fire, his tactical brilliance guiding the fleet through the chaos. Captain Tanaka, take your squadron to flank their left. Sanchez, cover our rear. Dr. Patel, stand by for casualties. The enemy fought fiercely, but Jack's strategy began to turn the tide. They targeted the enemy's command ship, battering through its defenses with relentless precision. The crew's determination and skill shone through, each maneuver executed with flawless coordination. "General, enemy flagship in range," Sophia reported. "Fire at will," Jack commanded. The ship's main cannons roared, sending a barrage of energy towards the enemy's heart. The flagship shuddered, its shields flickering under the assault. Amid the chaos, a transmission crackled through the speakers. "Human ship, this is Commander Cryo. Surrender now, and I might spare your lives." Jack's grip tightened on the console. "Cryo, I don't think you understand the situation. We're not backing down." Cryo's voice was cold and mocking. "You are outmatched and outnumbered. This is your last chance." Jack's response was a calm, steely defiance. "We've heard that before. And yet, here we are." Jack's voice, though filled with relief, remained firm. "Stay focused, everyone. We've won this battle, but the war isn't over." The ship's systems buzzed with activity as they assessed the damage and regrouped. Jack looked around at his crew, pride swelling in his chest. They had faced overwhelming odds and emerged victorious. But he knew this was just the beginning. "Prepare for the next phase," he said, determination in his eyes. "We'll continue until the final victory is ours." Jack's voice cut through the tension on the bridge, sharp and commanding. "All units, prepare for attack formation. We strike at the enemy's flank. Execute with precision." The ship shuddered as it accelerated, the crew moving with practiced efficiency. Screens lit up with tactical data, and the hum of machinery filled the air. Jack stood at the center, eyes locked on the enemy fleet ahead. "Incoming enemy fighters," Lieutenant Sanchez reported, her voice steady despite the looming danger. "Deploy interceptors," Jack ordered. "Let's give them a fight they won't forget." Sophia, the ship's AI, projected a three-dimensional map of the battlefield, highlighting the enemy's vulnerabilities. "General, their formation leaves their rear weak. A concentrated strike could cripple their command structure." "Perfect. Draw their attention and clear a path for our bombers." "Aye, General," Tanaka replied, his eyes alight with determination. He relayed orders to the fighter pilots, and within moments, a swarm of sleek ships launched from the hangar, diving into the fray. The battle erupted in a blaze of energy bolts and explosions. Jack's gaze never wavered from the main screen, where enemy ships exploded in bursts of flame and debris. The crew around him moved with synchronized precision, their faces set with grim resolve. "General, we have a visual on Kras's flagship," Sophia announced. Jack's jaw tightened. "Focus all firepower on their engines. We can't let them escape." As the Endeavor's cannons roared to life, the ship rocked from the return fire. Sparks flew, and alarms blared, but the crew held their ground, unwavering in their commitment. In the medical bay, Dr. Ethan Patel worked tirelessly, tending to the wounded with swift, sure hands. The room was a blur of motion and triage, but Patel's focus never faltered. Each life he saved was a small victory in the chaos of war. "Hang in there," he murmured to a young ensign, applying a bandage with practiced ease. "We're going to make it through this." Back on the bridge, the tension was palpable as the Endeavor closed in on Kras's flagship. The enemy ship loomed larger on the screen, its dark hull marred by the bright flashes of impacts. "We're almost in range," Sophia said. "Prepare for boarding maneuvers." "All boarding teams, gear up," Jack commanded. "This is our chance to end this war." The crews sprang into action, suiting up and readying their weapons. Among them was Lieutenant Sanchez, her resolve steely as she joined the assault team. "Be careful out there," Jack said, catching her eye. "We need you back in one piece." "I'll be fine, General," she replied with a confident smile. "Let's finish this." The boarding shuttle launched, weaving through the thick of battle. Laser fire streaked past, and explosions rocked the vessel, but Sanchez and her team pressed forward, undeterred. The shuttle docked with the enemy flagship, and the boarding ramp extended with a metallic clang. Sanchez led the charge, her blaster at the ready. The corridors of the enemy ship were a maze of dimly lit passageways and hostile forces. "Keep moving," Sanchez shouted, firing at an approaching enemy soldier. Her team advanced with methodical precision, clearing room after room. As they fought their way deeper into the ship, the resistance grew fiercer. Sanchez's team took casualties, but they pushed on, driven by the urgency of their mission. Finally, they reached the control center. The doors slid open to reveal Kraz, standing tall and imposing, surrounded by his elite guards. "General Lawson sends his regards," Sanchez said, raising her weapon. Kraz sneered. "Fools, you think you can stop me?" A fierce battle erupted, energy bolts flying in every direction. Sanchez moved with deadly grace, taking down guards with pinpoint accuracy. Her team fought valiantly, holding their ground despite the overwhelming odds. In the chaos, Sanchez saw an opening and charged at Kraz. The two clashed in a brutal melee, trading blows with deadly intensity. Kraz was strong, but Sanchez's determination fueled her strength. With a final, decisive strike, Sanchez disarmed Kraz and pinned him to the ground. "It's over," she said, breathing hard. "You lose." Kraz glared up at her, defiant to the end. "This isn't over," he hissed. "You'll never—" Before he could finish, the room shook with a massive explosion. Sanchez's communicator crackled to life. "Lieutenant, we've disabled their engines," Jack's voice came through. "Get out of there. We're about to blow this ship sky high." Sanchez nodded, securing Kraz with restraints. "Team, fall back," she ordered. They moved quickly, retracing their steps through the damaged corridors. As they boarded the shuttle, Kraz spat curses, his defeat bitter and complete. Sanchez looked back at the smoldering wreckage of the enemy flagship, a fierce pride swelling in her chest. The shuttle raced back to the Endeavor, the enemy ship detonating in a spectacular explosion behind them. The crew cheered as the shuttle docked, their victory hard-won and absolute. Jack met Sanchez as she disembarked, a rare smile on his face. "Well done, Lieutenant." "Thank you, General," she replied, her own smile reflecting the relief and triumph of the moment. Chapter 4. Confrontation. Jack stood in the dimly lit war room, the ship's hum a constant reminder of their precarious position. The holographic map projected the enemy flagship's layout, rotating slowly as the team studied it intently. Jack's voice was steady but firm, the weight of leadership evident in his every word. "This is it," he said, eyes scanning the faces of his key officers, Captain Tanaka, Lieutenant Sanchez, and Dr. Patel. "We infiltrate Kraz's flagship, disable their command, and end this war." Tanaka nodded, his expression grim. "We've got one shot at this. Stealth is our only advantage. Once we're in, there's no turning back." Sanchez, her fingers tapping nervously on the table, added, "Our best entry point is through the maintenance ducts. It's risky, but it'll get us closest to the command center without raising alarms." Jack's gaze shifted to Sophia, the ship's AI whose avatar flickered beside him. "Sophia, keep us linked. We'll need real-time updates on enemy movements." "Understood, General," Sophia replied, her digital tone calm and reassuring. "I'll guide you through every step." The team suited up, the metallic clinks and rustles of gear adding to the tension. Jack tightened his gloves, his mind racing with tactical scenarios. He couldn't afford any mistakes. Too much was at stake. As they boarded the stealth shuttle, Jack felt a pang of nostalgia. The cramped interior, the smell of metal and oil, it was all too familiar. He glanced at his team, their faces set with determination. They were ready. The shuttle detached, gliding silently through the void. The enemy flagship loomed ahead, a dark, menacing silhouette against the star-strewn expanse. Jack's heart pounded, but he forced himself to focus. They slipped into the maintenance ducts, the narrow passageways barely accommodating their suits. "Keep it tight and quiet," Jack whispered into his comm. "We don't want to attract any attention." They moved with precision, each step calculated. The ducts were a labyrinth, but Sophia's guidance kept them on course. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed, freezing them in place. "What was that?" Tanaka whispered, his hand on his weapon. "Just the ship settling," Sophia reassured them. "Keep moving." They reached the command center's vicinity, the hum of machinery and distant voices growing louder. Jack signaled for a halt, peering through a vent. Below, Kraz's officers were engaged in heated discussions, oblivious to the imminent threat above them. Tanaka, Sanchez, you take the left flank. Dr. Patel, with me, Jack instructed. We need to take them out swiftly and silently. They dropped down, the element of surprise working in their favor. Jack moved like a shadow, his strikes precise and lethal. Kraz's officers barely had time to react. Within moments, the room was secure. Clear, Tanaka reported, wiping sweat from his brow. No alarms triggered. Jack approached the main console, connecting his device to download critical data. Sophia, start the transfer. Initiating, she responded. Transfer will take approximately 5 minutes. As the data flowed, a door at the far end of the room hissed open. Kraz stepped in, his eyes narrowing at the sight of the intruders. Lawson, he snarled, recognizing Jack instantly. I knew you'd come. Jack stood tall, facing his nemesis. It ends today, Kraz. No more bloodshed. Kraz's laughter was cold and menacing. You're too late. My fleet is already positioned to strike your homeworld. You can't stop it. We'll see about that, Jack replied, his voice a steely resolve. He lunged at Kraz, their clash intense and brutal. Kraz fought with the ferocity of a cornered beast, but Jack's determination was unyielding. The room filled with the sounds of their struggle grunts, the clash of metal and the heavy thud of blows. Jack's training and experience gave him an edge, but Kraz's sheer brute strength was formidable. As they fought, Jack's team worked frantically to secure the command center and complete the data transfer. Almost there, Sophia reported. Kraz landed a heavy punch, sending Jack sprawling. You're finished, Lawson, he hissed, raising a blade to strike. Jack rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the lethal blow. With a swift kick, he knocked Kraz off balance and reclaimed his footing. Not today, Jack growled, charging forward. In a final, desperate maneuver, Jack disarmed Kraz and pinned him to the ground. It's over, he said, breathing heavily. Call off your fleet. Kraz's eyes burned with hatred, but he knew he was beaten. You haven't won, Lawson, he spat, but the defiance in his voice was fading. Transfer complete, Sophia announced. We have control of their fleet. Jack signaled his team. Let's get out of here. Sophia, initiate the shutdown sequence. As they retreated, explosions rocked the enemy flagship. They reached the shuttle and launched, the ship's destruction looming behind them. Jack watched the enemy vessel implode, a sense of relief washing over him. It's done, he said, his voice tinged with exhaustion but also triumph. We're going home. Jack Lawson stood on the bridge of the enemy flagship, sweat dripping down his brow. The air was thick with tension, each breath heavy with the weight of their mission. Around him, the remnants of his team fought valiantly, their movements a dance of desperation and resolve. Explosions echoed through the corridors, punctuating the silence with reminders of their precarious situation. Sophia's voice crackled in Jack's earpiece. General, you must decide now. We're running out of time. Jack's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the control room. Kraz stood opposite him, a cruel smile on his face, confident in his apparent victory. Your fleet is doomed, Lawson. Surrender now, and I might spare a few of your people. Jack clenched his fists, the weight of leadership pressing down on him. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees, Kraz. With a swift motion, Jack launched himself at Kraz, the two locking in a brutal hand-to-hand struggle. The enemy commander's strength was formidable, but Jack fought with the desperation of a man with nothing left to lose. They grappled, trading blows that resonated with the force of their clashing wills. Nearby, Lieutenant Maria Sanchez was working furiously on the control panel, trying to disable the hidden weapon Kraz had revealed. Her fingers flew over the keys, her face a mask of concentration. I'm almost there, General, she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos. Dr. Ethan Patel provided cover, his precise shots keeping the enemy soldiers at bay. Hurry, Maria! We don't have much time. Kraz managed to land a hard punch on Jack's ribs, causing him to stagger. You're a fool, Lawson. This will be your end. Jack gritted his teeth, forcing himself back to his feet. Not today, he growled, launching a counterattack. He drove Kraz back, his determination unwavering. The memory of the countless lives lost in this war fueled his strength, pushing him beyond his limits. Finally, with a final surge of power, Jack overpowered Kraz, slamming him against the control panel. Kraz's eyes widened in shock as Jack pinned him down. It's over, Kraz. Meanwhile, Maria let out a triumphant shout. Got it. The weapon is disabled. The relief was palpable. Jack's grip on Kraz tightened as he spoke, his voice low and filled with resolve. You underestimated humanity. We fight not just for survival, but for each other. Kraz struggled, but the fight had gone out of him. Jack motioned to Ethan, who secured the enemy commander with a set of cuffs. We'll deal with you later, Jack said, turning his attention back to his team. Sophia's voice came through again. General, the enemy fleet is retreating. They're in disarray without Kraz's command. Jack allowed himself a moment of relief. Good work, everyone. Let's get out of here. As they made their way back to their shuttle, Jack took a deep breath, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The pain, the loss, and the sacrifices had all led to this moment of triumph. But he knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Back on the Endeavor, the atmosphere was one of cautious celebration. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but there was much work to be done. Jack addressed his crew, his voice filled with the gravity of their situation. We've won a crucial battle today, but the war isn't over. We must rebuild, regroup, and prepare for whatever comes next. Together, we will forge a future worthy of those who gave their lives for it. The crew responded with a cheer, their spirits lifted by Jack's words. They were tired, wounded, but unbroken. As they dispersed to their stations, Jack remained on the bridge, staring out into the vast expanse of space. Sophia's holographic form appeared beside him. You did well, General. The crew looks up to you. Jack nodded, his mind already racing with plans for the future. We need to make sure this never happens again, Sophia. We need to be ready. You will be, Jack, Sophia said softly. You've already proven that humanity's spirit is indomitable. Jack turned to face her, a determined glint in his eyes. And we'll keep proving it, every single day.